Oh, great. So here we go again. Hi, everyone. My name is Phil Saville from CIS, and we provide IT support and cybersecurity solutions for small to medium-sized businesses. So thank you for joining us, and we really hope that our weekly 10-minute presentations and Q&A sessions is helping with working from home productively and securely. And of course, this going forward is the new norm. So this is why we're now extending it and continue to do that to really sort of provide help and support. So today's talk is on about building a secure cybersecurity wall to protect your business. And I'm joined today by Tony Pemberton and David Poltney, who are both technical account managers at CIS and with a vast amount of experience and accreditations. And also joined, obviously, by Erin, who is here to, as usual, to support us and more really, I suppose, keep us on track. And of course, she'll be posing those questions that if you have any questions, please submit them in the comments below, and we, we'll answer them afterwards. So let's get going. I'm just going to share my slides with you. So just bear with me for a minute. Okay, right. Go right, share slide screen. There we are. Fantastic. Okay. Sorry about that. There we go. Cool. Okay. So how to build a secure cybersecurity wall to protect your business. We've talked a lot about different solutions and technologies to protect your business. But today I wanted to sort of demonstrate how these sort of all fit together and answering sort of these questions. Is my cybersecurity wall strong enough, tall enough, stable enough? And am I using the right materials, and has it been built from the ground upwards with obviously no holes? So this bag of cash represents your business. No matter how much is in the bag, it's probably the most valuable thing to a business owner. So for the next 10 minutes, I'm going to talk about what IT security measures you should consider to protect your business, that you've spent time, money, and of course, a lot of love on building it up. And it really is about building layers of protection and getting the basics right and build from there. So there are no holes left for the cyber criminals to climb through, or a badly built wall with the wrong materials so it's easily knocked down. And obviously this is more critical now as you and the employees are working from home, and what protection do your home workers have? So let's start off with the foundations of a wall. So it's things like the latest operating system. We're still finding businesses that are running Windows 7 operating system on their devices. And of course, the personal laptops that the home users now are being used. Let's face it, personal laptops are the last thing that get upgraded. And potentially it's more of a, if it works, why change your attitude? So Microsoft stopped supporting Windows 7 devices in January this year. So that means there's no more security updates. So if the hackers do find a weakness in Microsoft Windows 7, Microsoft will not do anything to help you. And obviously the hackers then will exploit this. There's things like endpoint securities. This is your antivirus software on your PC, making sure that it's keep updated, and do not cut costs with a with a poor antivirus. Always go for a good one, and make sure that you extend your business choice at the moment to the home PCs as well. You're not relying on the home users using free antivirus, or in some places no antivirus. And of course, always apply updates to software, specifically operating software. Windows devices, your Macs, even your smartphones. If there's an update, apply the updates, because these consist of new and improved security features. And of course, they're potentially filling those holes in that wall. Firewalls, and this is the software that builds its own wall between sort of the outside internet and your office network or home internet. And you may have had a firewall on your office network, but how is that working now? You're working from home. hard disk encryption like BitLocker, and of course offsite backup in case a disaster occurs or whatever, whether it's virus related or human related. A secure backup so you can restore securely is key. Strong passwords. I could talk for 10 minutes on what a secure password is, but make sure they're individual, strong passwords that are kept securely. We found that most home PCs don't even have a password, and of course, all the family members are using the same PC and potentially the same user account. So always use quality bricks and cement. I mean, think about the cement representing the staff training and how the staff are adapting to the new solutions and using them correctly. A wall is no good without cement. And at this stage, obviously, you can still see the money, and this becomes still very tempting for the hackers. So let's continue building. So now we're starting to look like more of a solid wall. And it's things like MFA, multi-factor authentication, where you're adding another security layer to your business credentials. And we did cover this in a 10-minute Facebook Live last week. So again, if you missed it, scroll through our Facebook page and look at that. Advanced anti-malware, so that obviously the hackers are getting smarter in ways to trick you, and you need to invest in good anti-malware along with antivirus to combat these threats. Computer policy, have you got one? I mean, have you explained this to the team? Is it workable, and are they following it, and can they follow it? There's mobile device management, of course, with more devices being lost and stolen, or employees using their personal devices with company data on. It's making sure that information and that data that's your business is secure and away from those hackers. And there's things like anti-threat protection, so where you're scanning emails for malicious attachments or links to phishing websites. Obviously, email encryption itself, where the ability to encrypt certain emails that are containing sensitive data. Secure VPN, a secure line to your office or to a private cloud. People are using VPN technology more now, but is it secure? And that's a real sort of keyword there. And of course, introduce the company password manager tool to really complement the sort of individual passwords and the sort of secure passwords to make sure that they're maintained, they're secure, they're the randomly made new ones and so on. And of course, it works in with your computer use policy that you've hopefully now got. So, there are 3 layers here that sort of hide more of your money, but obviously the hackers still know it's there. So, let's go even higher. And it's things like to consider using, terminal server technology. And this provides sort of the full business security, no matter where you are, to access it from. And if you'd like to know more about this or even have a demo on it, please let us know. But it's a bit like having the company data behind one brick wall rather than several outbuildings, which are old and can fall down, which is really the sort of same as potentially people's current homes set up now, really. So that's sort of how to look at it like that. And of course, 24/7 surveillance. This monitors the threats, the attacks 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, making sure that you're aware of any vulnerabilities immediately by creating alerts to suspicious activity or new devices that have suddenly appeared on the network that you're not aware of, and using artificial intelligence technology to sort of make sure that it's kept on top. And finally, of course, having a team of cybersecurity experts available to deal with any suspicious threats or attacks to make sure, that they're dealt with in the right way. I mean, for example, prisons are built to keep the criminals in, but sometimes when there's a human error, a process not followed, or a rogue employee, prisoners do escape. And by having sort of a team of cybersecurity experts available to round them up and to really sort of fill those holes immediately, block that walls, secure those doors and accesses, and make sure that your business is protected at all times. So I hope that sort of helps. It's really sort of to give you an overview of how they all fit in. I'm sure we're going to have some questions. So, thank you for your time so far. I'm going to remove my presentation and we'll go back to Dave Polkney and Tony Pemberton and answer some questions from there. So here we go. Just bear with. Brilliant. Cool. Okay.
Great. There we go. Everyone's back now. Thank you so much, Phil, for your presentation. Another really great presentation. Lots of things we could talk about, I'm sure, but we've got a couple of questions to go into some of the things that you mentioned in your presentation. So Phil, we'll start with you. You mentioned the importance of applying updates on your phones, on your computers when they are available. But I think sometimes people are really worried because there are complaints about them being buggy or whatever. So if you've got an out of date system and you're worried about that, is it really worth updating the system?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I would always, if you can, get expert advice, but they're releasing it because they found someone has reported a vulnerability within that software. They've so the manufacturer then has found a fix for it, and therefore the only way of releasing that fix along is by doing the next update. And what they used to do is add features so people then would apply these updates, but actually more people are getting a bit more savvy about, there's an update, comes on, just apply it. You're adding so much more protection on that, and I'm sure Dave or Tony could probably add to that.
And some machines have automatic updates as well. You can enable that as well, can't you? I think.
Absolutely, yeah.
Dave,
so one thing that I would point out is that when these updates are released, it's obviously because an issue, a bug has been reported to the manufacturer, and when these updates are released, it's possible for hackers to obviously obtain the updates and actually from the application of the update work out exactly what's being patched. So from there, they can actually work out what the vulnerability is. So when an update is released by a manufacturer, the need for everyone to update as soon as possible is greater, because you're more likely to be vulnerable to an attack because there's more people to work out exactly what's being patched. So I definitely recommend what Phil's saying. As soon as an update comes out, rely on the fact the manufacturer's done due diligence and done all the testing, and get that on your systems as soon as possible.
Just Dave, that's a great input. Just to add to that, there are also products out there, regarding patch management that prompt you for this on top of what the operating systems are asking you for. So there's an element of looking into other products to help you manage that. It's not just the operating system. Yeah,
I agree, Tony.
Great. Cool. Thanks for your answers, guys. So the next question, Tony, I'm going to direct this one to you. Okay. Phil talked about antivirus software and kind of anti-malware as part of his presentation, and there's quite a lot out there on the market, really. And how have you got any recommendations for good ones? How do you know which one to go for? And if I don't have it, am I putting myself at risk? Even if I'm really careful about clicking on suspicious links and stuff, is it still a risk if I don't have it?
I'll answer the last question first, if that's all right. For sure, you are putting yourself at risk if you do not have any protection whatsoever. I mean, these hackers are very clever at hiding, what they're doing. They drop all this malicious software at specific times of the day when you don't even know that it's happening. These products that monitor the behavior of your machine and yourself, are tantamount to protecting your IP, your PC, your livelihood. I mean, I don't want to touch on any brand specific, but what I would suggest if you're looking for antivirus is to look at a sort of a number of features. Obviously, Phil, you touched on anti-malware. There's anti-ransomware to think about as well, which is a module within the product that stops crypto locker. So you get malware that can encrypt your data. And then it gives you an option to pay to unlock your data. That's your ransomware. There's stuff like web filtering and web control to stop you downloading those sort of packages. Even if you're not aware of it, it will block those or warn you that you're potentially downloading suspect software. There's a client firewall feature and some of these antivirus products that maintain your firewall that's on your operating system. Make sure you don't turn it off or someone else has turned it off for you. Device control, where you essentially are stopping any device being plugged into your machine, like someone plugging a USB trying to drop some of your data on. I know it's a bit of a physical security thing, but it stops anything other than encrypted USBs going into your device. And then, like as I touched on it, patch management. Patch management isn't just really for operating systems, but it can also monitor the other applications that are on your device. Say, you've got an art program or a desktop publishing program that has got an update. It will call out to these providers and state that there's an update available for your machine, and then you obviously have to take the step to install the updates, but it at least helps prompt you to stay secure. And then ultimately, if you have the money, then there's like an email protection module that you can plug in to your antivirus, and it will monitor inbound mail for anything suspect. It's pretty much it. I could go there with some brands, but really, if you're interested in knowing more, come and get in touch with CIS.
Cool. Anything else to add from you guys, or no? We're good to go.
I think the only other thing that'd be on my shopping list, Tony, is for the management of this to be cloud-based. So it doesn't matter where your workers are working. If they're not in a centralized office, which is obviously unlikely in this current climate, and are all working from home, they can all still be managed and monitored, and alerts sent to a central management system.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah.
And in the day, a good solution. I mean, you're not talking it's going to break the bank. I mean, it's literally probably the equivalent of a good quality loaf of bread a week. Starting from there. So we're not talking hundreds of thousands per user. It's it is, but it's definitely essential, and it's something that you should invest in.
I agree.
Absolutely. So just to move on to the final question then, Dave, I'm going to direct this to you.
Okay.
Part of Tony's presentation, not Tony, Phil's presentation, he had his little building, and at the top of that was this terminal server technology, which obviously we didn't have much time to go into in the presentation. So what actually is that? Can you tell us a little bit more?
Certainly. So terminal server technology or remote desktop technology is where you use a server, and the latest version is Windows Server 2019, obviously Microsoft Windows Server 2019, that has a desktop very similar to Windows 10, and you basically connect from your home machine via a secure VPN into a terminal server, and effectively when any inputs from your keyboard or your mouse is made on your local machine, they are transported to the terminal server. So all the compute is done on the terminal server, and then the screen from the terminal server is then displayed on your monitor or monitors, because it does support multiple monitors these days, back to wherever you're working from. And the biggest advantage of that is that all your IP and all your business information stays behind your big main firewall in wherever you host your servers. That may be in our hosting center, that may be in your own premises, but it basically means that you get to control more of your documentation and where things like your price lists and your really valuable IP, which effectively should be in that pound sack, Phil, at the start of your presentation, are kept. And it obviously means that everyone's working on the same system, so you can control the updates, you can control what level operating system it's running, etc., etc. It is the best way of working where everyone is in different disparate locations. However, you can make them all work on one location that's controlled by you. You can even control whether people can copy files from the terminal server to their local machine or not, and you can do that on a per user basis if need be. So basically, it adds more control to the business owner to actually control what their users are doing during their working day. And unfortunately, that's required in this day and age because of the fact that a lot of the vectors of attack which these hackers use are the human element. So we've got to help users to stay safe at the end of the day.
Cool. And if I can just add to that, is the beauty of that as well is that the devices that the home users use, you can use what's called a thin client. So you haven't got to invest into a fully fledged sort of laptop or PC. You can use a thin client because obviously all the sort of applications and everything aren't sat on that device. They are, like Dave said, sat on the terminal server where you sort of remote into. So therefore the cost of the actual thin client is a lot less than you would on a on a normal PC or laptop. So again, you would reduce costs. Obviously it does work on a normal laptop, so you could do that transition over a period of time, but when you come to replace it, you would just need to replace it with a thin client.
That's true. I even know people who actually use Samsung tablets. Bear in mind, it's not my ideal of a great screen, and obviously with a Bluetooth keyboard or whatever, not my ideal setup, but people can. So, but yeah, and these thin clients again are easy to maintain, can be patched remotely. They just need an internet connection. Ideal solutions.
Great, absolutely. Well, thank you, Tony and Dave, so much for answering our questions and being with us today. It's been really nice to have some new faces on the live video. And Phil, as always, thank you for your presentation. And thank you everyone who's been watching. And we look forward to being back next week with another one. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Cool. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.